Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Hadley. I am a senior immigration attorney at the law firm, Immigration Law Offices in Riverside, California. I'm otherwise known as La Gringa. And with us today is La Chapina, Zayra Ivette Padilla. Zayra?
Hola, soy Zayra Ivette Padilla, la Chapina.
And Zayra and I today have a special guest, Leila Parviz, who is an associate attorney in the law offices of Hadley Bajramovic in Riverside, California, where we practice only immigration. And I'm excited for you guys to hear about her unique POV. And because Layla is an immigrant, came to the U.S. I'm always proudly telling everybody Layla learned English to go to law school. She went to an excellent law school here in Southern California and joined the law firm around 2017, I think. And then Layla, you left and went into family law practices, and then you came back to the office, and you've been able to combine that experience that you have in the family law with some of the cases that you supervise and specialize in here. But what I'm really excited for you to talk about, and I loved your stories that you told us the other day in the staff meeting about your recent trip to Turkey. So tell us what you were there for, the special visa type that we were promoting there or talking about because people don't know enough about it, and we haven't really talked about it in the podcast. The E-2 investor visa.
Hello, Gringa. Hello, Chapina. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. I couldn't have even prepared something like this, so Hadley, thank you so much for doing that. So yes, as all attorneys, I also wear so many hats in my practice. One of my Hadley talk about it, and that's like the one that is my passion and helping and working with children. And we can talk about that at next podcast or program later on. But I know that as a result of me actually speaking Farsi, while I was doing all these work with children, I had to help the firm with some of the Farsi speaking clients who wanted to do this investor visa. And it was at the beginning, it was just like translation, but once you get involved, then you also want to learn more and be curious more. And that's how now, in addition to doing this humanitarian work with children, I'm also doing this investor visa work. And it's I really enjoy working on them because in one part of my job I help children, in this side of my job I help businessmen and people who want to come to the US and follow the American dream and start their business here in the United States and rip the labor of entrepreneurship. And our firm, as you all know, we have experience over 15 years established. Majority of our clients are Hispanic from Mexico or Guatemala. I'm from Iran and Middle East. So now that we got the Latina market down, it's time to expand to Middle East part of the world, and we decided to start with Turkey because that's a country near and dear to my heart. My mom grew up there, so it was kind of like a second culture. I have grown up with all the language, the TV shows, the singers. So I think it would be a great start if we want to start there. E-2 visa, when you want to apply for it, like, it's not available to everybody. You have to be part of this treaty that United States has with certain countries, and Turkey is one of them. So the combination of all of these things allowed me to travel at the beginning of this month to Turkey. We covered 4 big major cities in Turkey: Istanbul, Ankara, which is the capital, Izmir, and Bursa. These are all like, industrial, and there's like a lot of demand from different aspects for all of them. And it was really great to cover all these 4 different cities and see the different culture, and the fact that a lot of people actually happen to know about E2 already, but we're appreciative of us, taking the time, meeting with them one-on-one, and explain the process and demystify some of the myth and misinformation that exists out there.
Leila, we had a discussion yesterday, Zayra and I, about the importance of being able to communicate with the clients. There are a lot of ways we communicate, but in the native language is one way of communication, right? I mean, we can communicate in English with facial gestures and certain decorum, but I understand that the first week that you're in Turkey, you were asking Merve, who works with ILOB and went with you to Turkey, to interpret because Merve is Turkish. And then Merve said that in the second week, you were just speaking in Turkish. Do you think that that made the people that you were talking to more comfortable? Do you think that the communication was better and helped build the relationships?
It definitely helps, the fact that even if I may not perfectly or 100% be able to speak, but at least I understand enough and I can carry a conversation, so people can think that, okay, I'm one of them. I am personally a big fan of this concept because it's easier to communicate, and there are like certain things that is similar, and it's a good way of communication and building trust. At the same time, I think that should not be something that blind people, so they just go to like number 1 person on the Google ad that just said, okay, I'm just going to pick this person because she speaks Turkish, because a lot of trust also can be abused that way. It's about overall building the trust, and but of course the fact that you are from that country, you understand the expression, you understand the food, you understand them coming from.
I didn't ask you this before, but I'm curious. Did anybody point out to you that my last name is sort of Turkish? My last name is Bajramovic, right?
Yes.
And the Ovich is a Slavic ending added to the word Bayram, which is holiday, Islamic holiday. And, I don't know if anybody says anything like, oh, because, that's another way to build trust. Oh, Hadley Bajramovic, okay, that sounds like, a Turkish name, or I think it's pretty obvious it's Bosnian. My ex-husband is Bosnian, and of course I kept the name because we have 3 children together, and for mother reasons, that I want to be connected to my children, I kept that name. I have a typical Gringa first name, last name, Hadley Lloyd. That is my maiden name. And then I went to Hadley Bajramovic. Okay, enough about that. So did anybody say anything?
So maybe like our can help. Marvin can help. I feel like one of the clients said something.
Yeah, some of our
Okay.
like Hispanic clients, and I mean the Latino community, they think it's Russian for whatever reason. Yeah, they think
Because
like,
it's a
oh,
Slavic ending.
it's
Yeah.
la abogada es rusa. I'm like, no, es gringa, pero tiene un apellido bosniaco.
Is Russian not Gringa? I guess not. I guess that Ruska. Okay.
No,
And what about?
uh-huh, we call gringos
No, I
to people
was
from the US.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a discussion about that. It's because of the green uniforms, right?
Because of what?
Gringo.
Okay, Zyra, will you explain the
Well, the
reason
story I
we have?
was told is that in Mexico, whenever they were coming, the U.S. Army was coming to Mexico, they were having their green uniforms, and they learned that "go" was to leave in English. So they will say green because of the green outfit, and then "go." So that's why we call them gringos.
Oh wow.
So yeah, but yeah, we were talking with Hadley yesterday about like the communication and the language, and I think it's the other thing that um people trust us, since the beginning, from the start, because um, I, speak fluent Spanish, and then they see Hadley that she speaks English, and so that many times I only heard maybe one negative comment about, oh, she doesn't speak Spanish. Like I was like, why would you expect her to speak Spanish? Kind of thing. But overall, it's very like they're very trust about Hadley being the gringa and I'm being the Spanish speaker like from Guate. So I think it's just one good combination of having somebody like that, and so that's why it feels very like clear to them that it's just how it works here usually in this country, that you always have somebody who will speak your native language, and especially in these kind of fields. Por esa razón, muchas, como decía mi compañera, mi colega Leila, siempre la gente se siente como más confiada en el aspecto de que se habla su idioma, porque, por ejemplo, ella nos compartía que fue a Turquía, ella es iraní y obviamente habla el idioma farsi. Entonces, todas esas cosas es como más claro, como ella representa una cultura que es similar, igualmente como cuando yo hablo español y soy de Guatemala, como latinoamericana, pues la gente tiene más confianza en hablar conmigo y con Hadley, porque hay esa comunicación directa en el aspecto de que hay una persona que habla el idioma fluido, aunque la abogada no hable español, o en este caso, como decía Leila, ella al principio tenía el intérprete que hablaba turco, pero ya después ella se sentía ya cómoda platicando, hablando en turco, a pesar de que, como ella dice, no es un idioma fluido específicamente en el caso de ella, pero habla suficientemente para poder desempeñarse en esa cultura. Y hablamos lo importante que es platicar sobre comida, sobre la cultura, sobre el idioma, o sea, tener esa conexión directa con las personas de ese país, y eso ayuda muchísimo en ese aspecto, que confían en nosotros porque hacemos todo lo que podamos para obviamente tener esa conexión directa con nuestros clientes, y eso es algo muy importante para nuestro despacho.
Layla, why don't you go over the basic requirements for an E-2 and let us know what the main concerns were in Turkey from the people that you talked to?
Okay, let me bring my cheat sheet.
So,
Okay.
we know that the E-2, like Layla mentioned, is available to countries that have treaties of commerce and navigation with the United States, and they're around 80. And Mexico is an E2 country, Chile, Colombia, Canada, the United Kingdom. Most of the European nations are E2 countries. Japan, Korea. But for some countries, we have to refer to a list.
It's South America, mainly E2 visa.
No, there are only
No,
two, three. Let's see, Colombia,
Argentina is not one
Chile,
of them.
Argentina is.
Oh yeah, I was like, Argentina is not one. Okay.
Yeah. And in
And I
Central
think
America, none.
Ecuador used to be, but no longer.
Right. Yeah,
Oh,
they.
Ecuador. Oh, okay. Sí,
I mean, I
platicamos.
think you still.
Ajá.
Oh, I was just going to say in Ecuador, I think there's still people that hold E2s. They're
Ah.
holdovers for when it was available, and they still allow them to renew.
Sí, Leila platicará un poco platicábamos sobre la visa E2, como brevemente mencionamos ayer, y obviamente es una lista específica de países latinoamericanos que tienen esta opción de visa de E2 de inversionista. Platicamos como obviamente Colombia, Chile, Argentina, Ecuador, antes pertenecía a esa lista, pero lamentablemente ya no, aunque todavía existen personas ecuatorianas que todavía tienen esta visa en sí que obtuvieron antes de que ya no fuese un país E2, de visa E2 para Estados Unidos.
Yes, and I think we mentioned, but like Mexico has the E2 treaty, so and that's actually majority of our clients that we
Yeah.
help are Mexican national, and just last week we had an approval. Like last month we had an approval, so it's definitely an embassy in a country that we work a lot, and we have a lot of success rate.
Sí,
So go
perdón,
ahead.
Leila, y cabe mencionar que obviamente México es uno de esos países que tiene esta opción de la visa E2 por obvias razones, está anexo a Estados Unidos, igual que a Canadá, por ejemplo. Entonces es algo que tenemos muchas personas que solicitan la visa E2 en el país mexicano tenemos mucho éxito en estas aprobaciones de la visa E2 de inversionista del país azteca.
Okay, so in addition to being part of those E2 countries, which, as Hadley mentioned, there is a lot of countries, and you know, if you're part of these countries, it means you can be eligible for this wonderful immigration opportunity that a lot of other people in the world might not be able to. And if you have some interest in doing business, then this is for you. And then you have to make a substantial investment in a US company. This substantial investment is like one of the issue that trip up a lot of people, because on one hand we have the EB-5, which is actually a totally different immigrant visa, and people, like, as soon as you say, okay, this is an investment visa, or like for entrepreneurs or whatever, they all go to that part and they say, oh my gosh, I don't have $2 million to
$1 million,
invest, or
yeah.
things like that. Which then, first we have to like kind of explain that, okay, no, first of all, this is a non-immigrant visa. Second of all, it requires a lot less money. So that's like one interaction that you have when you talk to potential clients. And then the other part is the substantial investment. So a lot of people, feel comfortable, and they say, okay, you must have at least $100,000 or $150,000 to be able to do an E2. I think this is just like a matter of comfort for like a specific person or people that might do that. The
Or
reality,
attorney.
yes,
Attorneys also put that information out.
yes, but the reality is, if you read the law itself, you never see a specific number. It just says substantial investment. And this substantial investment is based on the business that you do. So if you are doing a consulting business, it requires a lot less money than, let's say, if you want to do a restaurant business. And that's the beauty of us and the creativity, where we review people's background and history and come up with something, that they can do and they feel comfortable and they can make it work here in the United States. Hadley, do you want to add anything?
Well, no, I was just curious because we know that the cases that we have won have been all these variety of businesses. We have one lady who bakes cakes in her kitchen and sells them to the local bakeries. We have one gentleman who has a vintage clothing store, um, and he now opened a store in the Bronx. We have another gentleman who just opened a luxury restaurant, also, I think, in New York and Brooklyn. Um, what type of businesses did you see in Turkey? When the people you met?
Okay, so that's like, in addition to the investment amount, that's also like, somehow these things in the age of internet, it's good. It's a blessing in a way that you can get information fast, but it's also can turn to misinformation or misunderstanding very fast as well, because now there are like some people that think that, okay, the only way you can do an E-2 visa is just like do certain e-commerce thing or do a trucking business. And the reason that's the case is that, that particular office or whatever website they went to, um, that's the area that they have knowledge and expertise, and they try to make people to like sign up for those kind of businesses. But the reality is, if you're somebody that, have made bread your whole life, you have no business in becoming running a trucking company. So this is the beauty about like where we sit down with you and go over your specific knowledge, skill, and talent and come up with something that can work for you, because at the end of the day, this is your life. This is a business you want to run in another company. I mean, sorry, country.
Right. And the other selling point for me for the E2 is that it only takes 6 months. I mean, our immigration cases, I mean, have a life of 10 years, even longer. I mean, most green cards, like that are marriage based, are 1 year if they're adjusting in the US, 5 years if they have to do a consular interview, which that's the way it is for a lot of people in our area. So they have to wait. I just met with somebody just now before this call that's going to a consular interview, and she hired us in 2017. I mean, 7 years. And that's because she was waiting for all these separate approvals. She required 4 steps in her case. But the E2, you know, we had to form the company, write a business plan, and then submit for an E2 interview. It's typically 6 months. So I think that's wonderful. And we prefer the consular interview because you get the visa and you're in the US and your spouse can work immediately. Your spouse does not have to apply for a work authorization card. The spouse can show the employer, I entered as an E2, and that is sufficient proof for work authorization.
Yeah, and this is something that, again, like we also brainstorm with our clients when we meet with them, because this is all about planning about your future and your life. There's a lot of times that like, let's say there is a husband and wife. The husband has all these like work experience, business after business, but maybe the wife is a chef or something. And we know that in this dynamic, yes, maybe in like logical sense, we might think, okay, yeah, let's do the business through the husband because, he has been doing business forever. But sometimes, based on listening to clients and listening to their needs and what they want to accomplish, you realize, okay, maybe in this case, it's better than, we make the wife the main applicant because, she can still run a business based on her background and skill. And I call them free agents, it's just my made up word. And we make the spouse, this person who can be free to work in whatever he can choose to work in the business, their E-2 business, or they can work whatever they apply for, and in or like any company that offers them a job. So I like this part about E-2 where you can really make difference in people's life and do a lot of creativity, whether in terms of business selection, determining the structure of their business, or planning their life. I love it.
Me too. I love the creativity too, Layla. That's one of my favorite things. And some of the businesses that we've represented have been so much fun to work with. Like we were talking today, Zayra, a lady who has a jewelry store in Roma Norte. And I think I
Mm.
was more excited about the jewelry than I was about the
You're like,
visa.
I'm coming.
And I am. I'm like, oh, I don't like jewelry.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
So,
Yeah, it was
it's
already
nice
hearing the
for
conversation.
our audience to hear these, because I, like Leila said, they have a kind of like a wrong idea of what how much money you need to come and invest in this country. They think, oh, I need millions of dollars, and there's no way, kind of thing. So I think it's nice to share with them that they don't, that we know we really go in deep and we really do the the planning, and get their ideas, and make sure that they will be having a successful E-2 visa approval. So I think it's just nice for people to hear, because I think I was talking to my sister or my dad, I think, that I mean, in Latin America we have so many entrepreneurs, because we see the necessity and we figure things out, like we, okay, what can I do with my idea, what can I do with this type of material that I can get access to, or things like that. And I was looking, which I was surprised, because I was looking at this list of the what was it, the most country with more entrepreneurs, and Guate was one of the top. And I was just like, yeah, it's just the necessity that we have, that our economy is so bad, and there's so much people coming to this country, that we have all these, like, we really need to come up with something, kind of thing. So and I was expecting, like, European countries, that they have their ways, kind of thing. But no, it's actually the opposite. The harder you have it, the easier for you to come up with ideas and really get to it and understand it. Y platicaba con mi familia sobre que en Guatemala fue, no sé si fue el país con más emprendedores en esta lista, o uno de los países con más emprendedores. Así que para mí fue una sorpresa, porque muchas veces uno piensa, oh, pues los países europeos que tienen más acceso a más cosas o cosas así, pero no. Son los países, como quien dice, que tenemos más necesidad y que vemos la necesidad de poder crear y salir adelante con nuestra idea, que muchas veces pensamos que es loca o lo que sea, y no, y por eso por esa razón hay tantos emprendedores en nuestros países, porque miramos la necesidad y dejamos volar nuestra imaginación, por decir. Y por eso es tan importante de tener esa información, que no necesitas millones de dólares para poder abrir un negocio o emprender un negocio en este país, sino es algo mínimo, mucho, mucho más bajo que millones de dólares. Y por eso está la abogada Leila, Hadley, que tienen una amplia experiencia en estos casos para poder ayudarles, porque muchas veces uno, como dice, piensa que nuestra idea es descabellada, pero no, es una buena idea y media vez tenga las personas indicadas para poder desarrollarla, pues eso es lo importante, porque tenemos muchísimos clientes que han sido aprobados que venden joyas, hacen sus pasteles en su casa y proveen a diferentes panaderías. Así que son ese tipo de negocios que uno piensa, ay, ¿cómo voy a hacer eso? Pero no, son negocios simples, ideas simples, pero obviamente con las personas correctas pueden llevar a cabo. Y eso es lo importante de recalcar.
The little Spanish that I know and understand, I learned from Duolingo, and the founder of Duolingo is actually from Guatemala. So,
Wow.
yes.
Yeah, you
You
know
know,
why
I
he created that app? Because he felt bad because he was the actually creator of reCAPTCHA, the thing that take for us to go to like specific
yeah,
programs.
like
And
look for all the motorcycles.
yes, so he said that
Yeah.
he felt bad for all the time that people waste on that. So he created this free app for people to learn a language. So yes.
Yeah.
And it has
And
a
on
game aspect.
yeah, and then on I also wanted to add something that it's kind of relevant to like some of maybe the previous shows that you have had. Um, so we see I get to like talk to a lot of people, in a lot of consultation, and sometimes I speak with these people that they come to this country without any visa. They paid this coyote like thousand of dollars, and then I get to listen to their story, and I hear that okay, just like somebody say, oh, just come to us and ask for asylum, or whatever they were told. And then I listen to their story. First of all, as I listen, I realize that they don't have a very strong asylum case the way that U.S. Asylum and immigration law wants for someone to qualify for asylum. Second of all, when I realized the pain and the money, financial pain and emotional pain they went through just to get here, sometimes they could have put that financial pain just to come here in a legal way, and especially basically in case of Mexican national, and just start a business and like move on with their life. But they kind of get stuck. So
And I wanted to add to that, Leila, that even in Guatemala, which is not an E2 country, there are business-based non-immigrant visas. And Zayra will be spending a lot of time in Guatemala and will be available to meet with people and then connect them with us if they're interested in opening a business in the U.S. So even if you don't have an E2 designation, or you're not a treaty don't have a treaty of commerce and trade with the U.S., there are options. You're absolutely right. So
Sí, lo triste platicábamos de que I actually have thought about that, how much money people spend on paying a coyote that guarantees nothing and puts them at a death, life and death situation risk. And I'm like, why don't they, spend that money on a business or something like that?
right, yeah.
But I
I
think
mean,
and
it's
a
they're
lot
just,
of them are business owners too. It's not
yeah,
like they are
exactly.
like
Many
these
of them are
people that
business
have
owners
no.
too. Uh-huh.
Yeah, like it's like, okay, why did you leave your country? Yes, I had a store and it was doing really good, and they want to ask for extortion. So this
exactly.
individual like clearly could run a business.
Yes.
And our average case invests 20 to 30,000. That's our average. We have some that have invested
That's
100,
cheaper than a
200.
coyote for sure.
Yeah. Coyote and removal proceedings.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
sadly, they have become millionaires. I don't know, even like millionaires, by bringing all these people to the border, telling them lies, obviously, like, oh, you just turn it yourself in and they open the door and let you in, Oh yeah, that's it, you know.
Zara, you told me about this town. I'm not going to say the name so we don't become targets. But you told me about this town that was just a little village with like, grass huts that grew up overnight because they were all coyotes and made so much money, from people who paid them to take them on a certain route. Very dangerous route. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people died. And yeah, they got rich in Guatemala and probably Mexico too. So it's a big business.
Yeah, it's definitely a business, for like human trafficking, and when I see little kids coming on their own, like I just breaks my heart because
I know.
I don't want to think about everything that they went through, or I don't know.
Hmm.
I just don't want to actually deal with it. I mean, talk about it because it really breaks me. But it's just really sad, what all the lies and all that information that they get provided, and they just think it's, oh yeah, I just bring your child or just turn yourself in and you will good to go, just pay me 15, $20,000 and I'll take you there, so it's
Yeah.
just horrible. Pero lamentablemente, lo que platicábamos es sobre las ideas erróneas que tenemos muchas veces, ¿verdad? Y las escapatorias que buscamos cuando estamos en una situación difícil. Porque decíamos, podemos invertir en una visa acá en este país de invertir, y hemos tenido casos que han invertido, perdón, 20, $25,000. Es lo que una persona está pagando por un coyote, si no es que más, dependiendo si vienen toda la familia, es mucho más dinero, $40,000, $50,000. Entonces, es lo triste de esta situación que tenemos. Por esa razón queremos realmente recalcar que hay diferentes opciones para muchos latinoamericanos, específicamente Guatemala, Centroamérica no tiene una visa E-2 de que sería de inversionista, pero tenemos otras opciones. Como dijo Aldi, yo voy a estar pasando mucho tiempo en Guate, así que estaré más que contenta y feliz de platicar con ustedes, de ver sus opciones, que puede ser que no tengamos la visa E-2, pero tenemos otras opciones de otro tipo de visas que pueden servirles. Así que definitivamente no se queden con las dudas, pregúntenos. Yo voy a estar ahí en Guate para ayudarles y aclarar cualquier duda. Y como decimos, también el resto de Latinoamérica tenemos estas opciones que no sabemos y que pensamos o tenemos la idea errónea que son millones de dólares, cuando al final de cuentas son miles de dólares que probablemente tenemos y que no sabemos que podemos invertir.
So we've gone way over on our time. I think this was very interesting.
Yeah.
Layla, I would like to invite you back because I wanted you to talk about issues that we've been working on with the congressman and with distinguished professors at UCR, with Iranian students who have been put into these lengthy background checks at Washington, D.C., and also about your work with special juvenile immigrant visas. So if you'll please come back and discuss that with us, we'd be grateful and
Yes.
love to hear your unique point of view. And thank
Okay,
you for
thank you
being
so
here
much.
today.
Thank you for
Thank
having me.
you. Thank you,
Thank
guys,
you.
and we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Adios.
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 Ciao.
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 Merhaba.